Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Drafted Up Podcast. That's Nick. I'm Theo. Recording on a rare Friday as we dive into a Week 3 preview. How you doing, Nick?
Not too bad, not too bad. Coming
He's
in.
lying. He is lying to you
I
people.
am. In our home league, it's bad. I happened to trade for Cooper Kupp and Joe Mixon last week, and now both are out indefinitely. Joe Mixon's looking like a week. Cooper Kupp, it's indefinitely, but why add him to the IR? So it fucks up me adding him to my IR, and it throws a whole hoopla of stuff. And AJ Brown's also hurt, and Jake Ferguson just came back. Oh man, it's been a rough 2 weeks, man. But hey, the belt's in my possession for the next 365 days. Give or take.
You still got the belt for a while. And hey, our Megalo Bowl team's also doing really bad. 0-4.
This is the only league. This is like the only league that I'm really like tilting in. All the other leagues I'm like sitting actually pretty good.
Yeah, it'd be like that sometimes. Sometimes your home league takes
the one I fucking care about.
Yeah. All right. For Thursday Night Football last night, Jets looked pretty good. Patriots looked like crap. Drake May got to play, though.
They are who we thought they are. New England. They are the worst team in football. I'll say it. It's on average. Like, come the end of the season, New England's going to be better. They're the worst team in football. They're horrendous, dude.
Two strong games to start the year. Could have been 2-0. And then they come out here and shit the bed on a Thursday. Prime time.
Yeah.
Jacoby Brissett looked terrible. Ramondre Stevenson looked terrible. Did get to see some Drake May, though, so hopefully that means he's going to be playing a little bit more.
I would assume so at this point. I really don't know what happened. New England's offense was horrendous. Gibson outran.
They were down
Stevenson.
3 linemen.
Yeah, they're out here sitting like the Rams. Their run game's pretty inefficient. Their quarterback's out here running for his life. Brissett's lucky he even, was able to walk out of that stadium.
Yeah, but Aaron Rodgers looked good. Garrett Wilson looked fine. Saved it by a touchdown. Only had 33 yards.
I was say he didn't look that great. But God, does Garrett Wilson worry you at all?
No,
at all. Like not at all. You still think he's an alpha?
I think he is a low end wide receiver 1, high end wide receiver 2 in fantasy. Not willing to call him an alpha, but I'm not. I think over the course of the year, him and Rodgers will connect better.
I think so.
They've had minimal playing time together.
I agree. I think come the end of the season, I think he's going to be a receiver 2, though. I think he's going to fall into a...
I would buy Garrett Wilson. If the Garrett Wilson owner in your league is tilting and worried about him, I'd try to lowball him and get him.
He's that kind of guy. But like also Breece Hall, Brandon Allen's out here.
Allen,
he's looking
he's
so
a
good, dude.
Superstar.
Yeah, they got him in the 4th. He fell a little bit. He's only 20. He's
Dallas.
Big body too. He's like
could have drafted this guy. He would have been RB1 in fantasy.
I also don't want to say it's too early for the teams that drafted running backs. Like, I had a couple running backs above him. Like, Brandon Allen was fine. He's a big dude. He's 235, 6'1"-ish. He's huge.
Slow.
So he's out here.
20.
Yeah, he can't even drink. But he's out here. He's playing really well. I think that's going to be good for Breece Hall, though, to keep him healthy. But it does cap, like, where he can finish. I don't think he can finish RB1.
Yeah. No, I feel that.
Like, if you look at Bijan... Algiers not really taking this kind of work. Like Braylon Allen had 11 carries, 55 yards. He had 2 touchdowns last week, I think. Like he's out here all the time. He had 3 catches too, so he's a good PPR. Like he's a decent flex option next week.
Which was his flaw.
Yeah.
In coming in, like I had him as my RB7, and looking back, I don't know. I probably would have had him clumped up with the guys like Jalen Wright, Marshawn Lloyd, Bucky Irving, Blake Corum. I would have had them in the same range.
I would say they're all in the same. Yeah, they're all in the same category. Like this running back class when they all came out, they were all almost identical. Like even the top 2, I even think being Brooks and Benson. Benson was my RB1. Brooks though was the majority RB1. But Braylon Allen's looking like he's legit, dude.
Yeah, he's playing really well. Dallas, I don't know what you're doing. You should have drafted that guy. Should have drafted a running back.
They could have just drafted a running back. It didn't have to be him. I would love to see Trey Benson out there for more carries in Dallas.
Jonathan Brooks. They thought they drafted Jonathan Brooks. They did.
Unbelievable.
All right, before we dive into week 3, let's give our starts of the week. Last week we did okay. I hit on Bowers and Brian Robinson. Baker was fine. I don't think you were overly happy with him. DJ Moore was a dud for me. You had Jaden Daniels. He was a good play.
Mhm.
Jerome Ford was a good play, and then the Browns just stopped using him. He was ripping up Jacksonville. Ayuk, kind of a
Dud.
miss. Mark
Dud.
Andrews, a dud, but all tight ends were a dud pretty much last week and the week
he
before.
had 4 catches, so it is what it is.
His utilization was better, so you'll take that as a W.
Yeah, he was on the field way more than Isaiah Likely, so it's all trending in the right way for Mark Andrews. But I'll start it here for what we're doing, quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Starting off with one of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL, Derek Carr this year. He's a must start this week in Philly, dude. Philly's secondary is horrendous. And New Orleans offense has dropped 40 points both games this year and the last week of last season. So 3 games in a row, they've scored over 40. Philly's secondary, you've seen it last week when they played Atlanta on that final drive. They couldn't stop anyone. Shaheed could very easily have another big play, giving him 3 huge games in a row. Chris Olave he had 90 yards last week. He's going to have a huge bounce back week on this weak ass secondary, dude. This secondary is going to be struggling hard. You also have Kamara, dude. Derek Carr is filled with weapons this week, dude.
Do you worry about Carr pumpkining?
I don't even know what kind of term that you're going to jack-o'-lantern this? What
Cinderella, like Cinderella. The carriage turns into a pumpkin.
Oh, you think he's going to turn into an onion like Shrek did?
Yeah. Do you think he's going to onion? Yeah. There you go.
No, I don't. No,
not this week at all. That thought's just not living in your brain a bit. That Derek Carr could just end up being Derek Carr again.
He could, but Derek Carr's always been half-ass fine. He finishes quarterback. He always finishes a little 16 last year, 17, 13, 14, 17. He's always a low end. He's the 15 range quarterback. He's not terrible. You remember that one year Derek Carr was in the MVP hunt?
Yes.
That was crazy,
got
dude.
Injured. It was wild.
I don't think that's going to happen. That's not the season Carr's going to have, but versus this secondary, dude, run it, dude. And then they got a really good stretch of games where it's Philly, Atlanta, Kansas City, Tampa, Denver. These are games that they're going to be high scoring games. They're going to be passing, and it fits right into New Orleans offense this year. I'm not buying in on the Saints per se, but at some point we're going to have to give them some type of flowers, dude. If they keep doing
refuse to give any credit to Dennis Allen.
You got to drink the Kool-Aid.
You won't catch. I'll leave the podcast before.
You got to drink the Dennis Allen Kool-Aid, baby.
Clint Kubiak. Former Minnesota Vikings coordinator Clint Kubiak. My start of the week is a former Minnesota Viking, and he is the guy who ripped up that Philadelphia secondary. Kirk Cousins at home versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Cousins looked great in that final drive versus Philly, and if Atlanta wants to beat Kansas City, they're going to need to score points. And Kansas City hasn't looked great in terms of stopping quarterbacks in terms of fantasy production.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can trust Kirk Cousins again.
He looked so much better. He looked like Kirk Cousins week 2. Week 1 was a dud, but it was his first game out there.
Yeah, I don't know if week 1 they were just easing it because of the injury and also because it was Pittsburgh, so they didn't really want him like running around it because Pittsburgh will pressure you with the best of them. So they were just like, we'll just let him take these hits and just do safe stuff.
I think it was kind of like a let's just go out there and test it. But they should have done that in preseason too. Like Kirk should have had at least a drive in preseason. Get the guy out there just to loosen up a little bit.
Well, I mean, they barely played Michael Penix in preseason.
Yeah, but it really showed week 1. But week 2, dude, Kirk was Kirk. So I fully trust him this week versus Kansas City. They're gonna have to score.
Merck, who's going to be listening to this, is going to be tilting because he asked us the other day, Kirk Cousins or Derek Carr, and we've both picked them as our starts of the week.
Indeed, you picked Cousins in the scenario, and I was like, yeah, I would pick Carr, dude. Like Carr versus Philly, dude, is a bet, dude. I'm all in on Carr versus Philly this week, dude.
Yeah. My running back start of the week is Tony Pollard of the Tennessee Titans. They're facing the Green Bay Packers. It's Pollard's backfield. This isn't a split anymore. Tajay Spears also banged up.
He's got an ankle injury.
Yep. The Packers last week, they gave up over 100 to Jonathan Taylor, and I expect the same from Tony Pollard this week. And if the Titans want to win a football game this year, they need to keep the ball out of Will Levis's hands. And the only way to do that is to just feed Tony Pollard the rock, and I expect a heavy workload versus Green Bay this week.
Yeah, for sure. I like Tony Pollard a lot this week. He's been having an unbelievable season. He's a
He's
really good
he's like the only guy to have like 15 plus carries and
like 4 catches or something like that. Yeah, he has a very short list of that. And my running back of the week is New Orleans Saints running back. No, it's not. It's Jordan Mason, San Fran versus the Rams. The Rams, dude, their offense is horrendous, so I don't think San Fran's going to have to pass at all this game. They're just going to be running the clock down, and it's going to be a boring game offensively for San Fran.
That's if they can even pass. Everyone's hurt.
That's true. Mason's finished RB5 and 11 the 2 weeks he started. This week's going to be no different. He's a lock in RB1 almost. He's playing a Rams team that's horrendously banged up, so the offense is not going to be on the field being the Rams offense. So the San Fran's is going to be on the field a bunch when it comes to offense, and they're going to be trying to run the clock down just to get the hell out of there. His game's not going to be really close at all. Jordan Mason was a lock, dude. He's had 100 rushing yards both games and a tutty. He's not really getting catches. Like, he's not doing people. My camera just zoomed out. That was weird. People are like, oh, he's McCaffrey. He's McCaffrey. He's not. He has 2 catches on the year.
No, he's
McCaffrey has 2 catches a drive, dude. Like, they're completely opposite. He's just a really efficient running back. He's a really good back. He's my lock of the week this week.
This is going to be a hot take, but I kind of like San Francisco better without Christian McCaffrey. It opens up things more. You get more utilization from Debo, Kittle, and Ayuk. It utilizes those guys. It makes fantasy more fun. But when McCaffrey's there, it kind of muddles things, and McCaffrey has his good games, and then you don't know if it's going to be Kittle, Debo, or Ayuk. It makes it frustrating, and I don't like being frustrated. Get rid of Christian McCaffrey. Start Jordan Mason. Make this easy for the people.
McCaffrey's too good. Is Debo playing?
No, he's out for a couple weeks.
Okay, I thought so.
And Kittle's probably not playing either.
I didn't hear that. That's crazy.
Yeah, he's got a hamstring. It tightened up on him. He missed Thursday. I don't know if he practiced today.
Whoa.
Yeah. Wide receiver. Who you got?
My wide receiver is, honestly, New Orleans wide receiver Chris Olave. And that's why I made the joke about Kamara. I could have just straight ran it with New Orleans, these 3. But Olave's a lock, dude. He had 4 catches, 90 yards last week. Versus this secondary, I already brought it up with
inches
Carr.
Short of a touchdown.
Yeah, if he would have brought in that touchdown, he would have been a receiver 1 on the week. Versus Philly, I think he gets into the end zone, maybe even more than once. I think Carr is going to have like 3 touchdowns, and it's going to go to Shaheed, Olave. I think Olave can get in twice. If Shaheed happens to not have a big play, like Shaheed not having a big play is it's a really good chance because he's a big play receiver, and those guys tend to dud out occasionally. And if that happens to go to Olave's way, he's a lock, dude. Like, start everyone in this game, Philly wise, New Orleans wise, run them.
Oh, I'm not starting Dallas Goedert, brother.
If you have to, tight ends are garbage this year.
Yeah,
I would happily start Dallas Goedert.
I dropped Dallas Goedert from our Megala Bowl team today.
For who? You didn't run that by me.
Jake Ferguson. He was back.
Okay.
I'm not carrying 2 tight ends. It's a waste of a spot.
Yeah, I get it.
Especially when everybody else is hurt on our team. We need depth.
My camera just keeps doing this thing.
My wide receiver start of the week is Nathaniel Tank Dell. Guys, I'm giving you the confidence. Tank Dell has not been good from a fantasy perspective this year.
Yeah, you're talking to the guy who has him.
He is running. I have him in the money league.
I have him in so many leagues, dude.
He's running a ton of routes. He is on the field a bunch. Just like Chris Olave missed that touchdown by a couple of inches. Tank Dell, CJ Stroud threw a beautiful pass. It would have been like a 67-yard bomb, but Dell unfortunately dropped it. He catches that. We're no longer worrying about Tank Dell's fantasy production. Minnesota has been pretty average against receivers. Defense has been great this year, but they struggle with like the short game receivers. Look what Debo did against them last week with San Francisco. And that's the kind of game Tank Dell can have. So I think this is going to be a big Tank Dell week for the Houston Texans. And Joe Mixon, probably not playing, means they're probably going to have to pass the ball more because I don't think Cam Akers is going to be very efficient against the Vikings front. I like Tank Dell this week.
Yeah, Pierce isn't also practicing, so it's Mixon and Pierce are both out, so it's Cam Akers' team. It's looking like that.
And Dare Ogunbowale.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be. It's Cam Akers going to get the bell cow. And he's pretty efficient, but he's not going to be efficient in the catch game. So you're talking to the guy who has Tank Dell as unfortunately wide receiver 1 this week due to a whole bunch of injuries. Cooper Kupp, AJ Brown.
Well,
So
I'm giving you the confidence to start Tank Dell.
I appreciate it because let me tell you, 50% of this podcast doesn't have the confidence, and it's the guy who has them. So
hey, I have him in the money league. He's starting in the flex spot. I'm going to give you a little more confidence here. My tight end start of the week, Jake Ferguson of the Dallas Cowboys versus the Baltimore Ravens. Ferguson's back. He's healthy. He's going to play. I don't think he's going out there as a decoy. Baltimore's been pretty bad at stopping the pass. They really struggle with the middle of the field, and that's where Jake Ferguson lives. I expect Dak to pepper him with targets this week.
Yeah, I really hope Ferguson has a huge bounce back game. Shoemaker looked really good in his filling game for Brock Bowers. So I'm getting ahead of myself. For Jake Ferguson. So any type of Cowboys tight end, I'm starting him. Like when I had to pick up a tight end, I should have just picked up Shoemaker. I should have just picked up Dallas's tight end. Dallas loves using tight ends. Dak will happily throw to whoever the tight end is. Ferguson back out there really is going to help Dak too in his fantasy game. Yep. I already brought up my tight end. I literally texted you when we were doing stuff for the pod, and I'm like, well, who's taking Brock Bowers for tight end? Because they're playing Carolina, dude. They're playing the worst team in football besides New England. Brock Bowers was tight end 3 week 1, tight end 3 week 2. He's a rookie. He had 9 targets last week, 9 catches, 90 yards. The dude's just start him. He's a rookie tight end. Don't even think about that. He's an elite tight end. He's one of the best tight ends of football.
He is somehow out producing Davante Adams in terms of being the first read in this offense, which is crazy. I do fear long-term wise, if Oakland or Vegas changes quarterbacks, that O'Connell's going to just pepper Davante Adams and it'll drop Bowers a little bit because Bowers, the upside is the fact that he's Gardner Minshew. That's his guy.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
This might be the last week we can use Brock Bowers for start of the week. It might be just too obvious going forward.
Yeah, we each get him once, I guess.
Yeah, just alternate every week. Brock Bowers,
tight end start of the week. Yeah, I guess we can lock Brock Bowers because honestly, he's got Cleveland after this, but after that, he's got a stretch of green games. He's got great matchups coming up.
If he does it again this week, he's done. We can't use him anymore.
Even if he doesn't, he's still going to outproduce most of the tight ends of fantasy football. The tight ends are really, really struggling this year, and it's pretty bad, dude.
Had Jake Ferguson not played this week, my start of the week was going to be Pat Freiermuth, and it's truly disgusting.
Mine was almost Jonnu Smith, so keep that in mind.
Yeah. All right. Let's dive into these games. We're going to start off with a gross one. The Denver Broncos are at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs are a 6-point favorite at home with an over-under of 41. There's only one person in Denver that I'm willing to put in my lineup, and it is Javonte Williams, and I almost made him my start of the week as a hype-up for myself to play him. Tampa struggled against the run. Vita Vea is not playing.
That is true.
Javonte Williams was the guy last week. He was the workload. Jaleel McLaughlin was barely involved. Now, will that continue? I don't know. Sean Payton is just hunky-dory. I don't know what he's doing here because week 1, it was a perfect split. And then
McLaughlin
it was all Williams.
McLaughlin out-carried in week 1. And he had 5 receptions, but then week 2, he just wasn't on the field. Javonte had to work.
He had 3 carries, no targets.
It was so weird. So I personally don't trust anyone in Denver. If you have to start Javonte,
that's fair.
I get it. There's a whole bunch of flex guys. I would just go pick up Juwan Jennings, San Fran. He's going to be receiver 2 there. There are guys that no one on Denver's worth starting, dude. They're so risky.
How do you feel about Greg Dulcich? Big target guy. Had 8 targets last week.
He did have 8 targets, but it falls onto the tight ends are shit. So
no good targets.
I would rather take my chance with Jonnu in Miami. They force feed him the ball, and now with Skyward, we'll get to Miami. We'll get there. We're ahead. Denver though, no one. I'm not starting anyone.
Tampa though, Baker. I think he's in play. I don't expect a big game for Baker. I would start a handful of guys other, but I wouldn't force myself. If Baker was my starting quarterback, I wouldn't force myself to go find one.
I agree.
Maybe Geno Smith.
Oh, I'd start Geno Heartbeat over.
Yeah.
Heartbeat.
Yeah. But Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Rachaad White, I'm comfortable with them. It looks like Rachaad White's going to play. He was a little banged up, but got the clear. He practiced in full today off the injury report.
If anyone has Rashad White, I just happen to trade him. Please go pick up Bucky Irving. Like, do not risk
Yeah.
White going down. Get the bag, because if White goes down, Bucky's
in general, in your
getting.
league, if you have a spot to use, go pick up Bucky Irving because
That's true.
he's efficient, and there's a chance that White ends up getting phased out if he continues to be inefficient.
There's a chance somehow Bucky just gets like a 50-50 split in the backfield carry wise, and then Bucky's still
White
gonna
gets the
catch
targets.
Yeah, Bucky would be lucky to get 2 catches, but White's gonna get most of the catches. But if White happens to lose some of these carries, dude, he takes a big hit because he's not efficient at all. He's averaging, what'd you say, 2 yards a carry this year?
Yeah. Rashad White is averaging 2 yards a carry, which is somehow worse from last year where he was averaging like
crazy.
3.2.
Yeah.
Is this a trap game for Tampa, or are you just?
It could be. They could get ahead really early. Denver's pretty bad. Denver's going to be playing catch up, and they don't have the receivers to do that.
I meant more so, could Tampa lose this game? It is. I do think it's a trap game fantasy wise.
I thought you meant
real
fantasy.
life purpose.
Sorry.
Is it a trap game?
We're mainly a fantasy football podcast, and this guy's like, well, real life question.
Well, we gotta pick the winners.
Real life? No, I don't think so. Unfortunately, I don't think Bo Nix can beat that off, and they beat that off. That's crazy. I'm sorry. That was crazy. God damn it. Oh, I don't think Bo Nix can go into Tampa and beat him, dude. God damn it. Now I'm going to bed.
Bucky Irving is averaging 5.3 yards a carry if you want to compare efficiency rates with
almost
Rashad White.
Three times the amount of yards.
I am picking Tampa.
I'm taking Tampa. Yeah, I'm taking Tampa for sure.
Your favorite game. The Philadelphia Eagles at the New Orleans Saints. The Saints are 3-point favorites and over under a 49.5. We already know A.J. Brown's not playing.
Sad.
So big rise for Devonta Smith. He looked good against Atlanta. I expect the same this week against New Orleans. I think this is going to... I wouldn't be surprised if this hits the over by a lot. This might be the highest scoring game of the week.
I seen a huge... Like, Jalen Hurts, like, real life split between not having A.J. Brown and having A.J. Brown on the field. It's truly 2 different worlds, dude. Like, his stats with A.J. Brown on the field compare to Patrick Mahomes. And then when A.J. Brown isn't on the field, they're like just a little bit better than Justin Fields. It's such a night and day difference when A.J. Brown's on the field. But fantasy-wise, thank God he's out here getting rushing touchdowns and yards.
Yeah.
Dude. Like, he's obviously safe fantasy-wise. Real life, though, like, Jalen Hurts needs to figure out something, though, when A.J. Brown's on the field.
He did look a little lost on, like, he does... When A.J. Brown, I noticed, like, he doesn't take off a lot when A.J. Brown's on the field. He kind of goes through his progressions and finds somebody down the field or dumps it off. But without A.J. Brown, it seems like he fixates right to Devonta Smith. If he's not there, he takes off, which it doesn't hurt in fantasy. He had 85 rushing yards. But it does make him look
he's safe,
less of
100%.
a real-life quarterback.
Yeah. But this game, dude, I'm so excited for this game. From Hurts, Barkley, Smith. I'm good with Goddard. I know you're not.
And then Goddard.
New Orleans, though, straight through with all their starters, too. Carr, Kamara, Olave, Shaheed. And if you want to flex in one of the tight ends, take your pick. Godspeed, I personally wouldn't.
Yeah, no, I'm staying away from those New Orleans tight ends. Shaheed, I think, is a great flex play. I'm very confident in Chris Olave this week. Kamara's an RB1. And Derek Carr is going to be...
Kamara might be
really
the RB1. He might be the RB1 on the week.
Yeah. He might just be the RB1 on the season, dude. Just give it to him.
Him and Barkley, I'm so excited to see the potential from both running backs in this game. They could finish RB1 and 2 just from this game.
Yeah. Who are you going with?
Philly.
Philly?
Yep.
I'm taking New Orleans.
Still buying.
Take the Saints.
I'm still buying in a little bit more on Philly than jumping in on New Orleans. But
no, Philadelphia, it's a clown show there. I hate it. Did you hear what Vic Fangio said, their defensive coordinator? Like, they asked him about, like, pressure, like why the Eagles aren't pressuring quarterbacks this year. He's just like, well, the pressures will come when we stop the run. No.
Yeah, okay.
Football. And Sirianni's just blaming everything on Kellen Moore, and then he's not addressing the team, only the players are. The vibes are bad in Philly. I'm I was out coming into the season, and I'm just still out. They're a great fantasy team. I just do not think this is going to be a good real life team. I think they're going to lose a bunch of games and score a bunch of points.
Who's taking this division? Dallas is 1-2, and they got Baltimore this week.
Whoever wins this division they're gonna have like 9 wins at most.
It could be Washington.
Yeah.
Me saying Washington can win this division is not looking too far outlandish.
Yeah. Yeah. The NFC East is it's a
weird year.
I'm out, but I'm taking the Saints here. Speaking of yucky, Los Angeles Chargers.
Oh, good
at
God,
the Pittsburgh
dude.
Steelers. Steelers are 3-point favorites at home and over/under of 34.5.
That's disgusting.
That's points, not how many carries each team's going to have, because they'll go over that.
Way over.
35 carries apiece for each team, for sure. I said to you before we started that I'm fine putting in any 4 of the running backs. J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, Jaylen Warren. Jaylen Warren especially. He got more involvement last week. Like, he's my favorite of the 4. Like, I would rank him Warren, Dobbins, Edwards, Najee.
I would put Edwards last. I would probably still put JK 1 just based off his ceiling. But Jaylen Warren, each week he's obviously getting healthier and he's going to be more involved catching wise. So he's a really good PPR option. All 4 guys are really good flex options. I don't really want to start him as an RB2. Like, Dobbins has been amazing this year, but he's going up against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's defense stops everybody from quarterbacks, running backs.
Both defenses are good plays this week.
Oh, 100%. If you want to watch football from 1933 in 2024, tune into this game right here, baby boy.
Yeah, if you want to live the life your grandparents lived watching football, turn your TV black and white and watch the Steelers versus the Chargers. Like, this is a game I'd rather watch the coaches than the actual game. Let me see Harbaugh 100%. And Mike Tomlin. Those 2 are hilarious. Like, I was listening to another podcast, and they were talking about, like, just quips those guys said. Mm-hmm. And, like, Jim Harbaugh was just like, oh, I'm going to be like Moses this week. I'm going to lean a lot on my staff.
Oh, my God.
And then, like, Mike Tomlin, they asked him something. He's just like, look, if you want to know you don't want to know the ingredients of a hot dog, because then you're not going to like what's going on here.
Oh, yeah. What's going on in Pittsburgh now is absolutely disgusting.
Hey, Justin Fields is the best he's ever looked. He's not making mistakes. Like, he's not taking sacks. He's getting rid of the ball. He's making good throws. It's just Pittsburgh can't score.
He's got one touchdown on the year.
I think Justin Fields has matured as a quarterback. Like, he's not looking to run. He's going through his progressions. He's not throwing away. He's not throwing bad passes.
Like, he's completing. Last week he was 13 of 20 with 117 on a tutty. That's not good.
That's the Arthur Smith style of football, brother.
Yeah, I get it, but he's not a good quarterback. You know how I feel about Justin Fields.
Yeah.
They're out here averaging like 16, 17 points a game. Like, they're not a real offense. They're not efficient. The running backs aren't scoring. No one in Pittsburgh's scoring because they don't have a guy moving the ball for them. Their quarterback's not good. And don't get me wrong, Russell Wilson is not better. They're both terrible quarterbacks. I'm not saying one's better than the other one, but Wilson's still a real quarterback at the end of the day. I think he'd be able to move the ball a little bit better.
Yeah. We'll see. I don't think Fields gets moved out of that job though until like Pittsburgh actually loses games. I think they keep winning. They're sticking with Justin Fields. But this game, how do we feel about any of the pass catchers in this game?
Pickens.
George Pickens. Yeah. George Pickens or Jackson Smith-Njigba?
The Jigba based off of just his ceiling of last week. Yeah. Just I would be more comfortable buying in early on the Jigba than being out late. Like, he had what, 10 catches last week?
Yeah, 10 for 160.
Like come on, dude. Like, he was drafted in the first round by Seattle. They love this dude. Lockett is obviously Tyler Lockett, but Njigba is the future. That's how they see it. He's going to be involved.
George Pickens or Drake London?
London versus the shootout in Kansas City.
Okay. Because the Chiefs do a wonderful job of scheming out one player. I would assume it would be Drake London. But
I think
who knows? Maybe they
I don't-
scheme out Bijan Robinson.
I was gonna say I think if they have the ability to do it, it's gonna be Bijan. But it's way harder to scheme out a running back than it is a receiver. Like you can lock down. Kansas City has the ability to lock down any receiver they really want to. That's the way they play ball, and they did it with Mark Andrews week 1 too.
But I brought up Freiermuth when the tight end started. Like I would play him if I'm streaming guy. Like if I'm the Njoku owner, I would be fine. The Chargers haven't been great against tight ends. Where you stand with Quentin Johnston?
I personally picked him up in our home league just because of how hurt on my team is. I currently don't have him in my lineup. It's too much of a risk factor.
Would you rank him? How would you rank the 3 receivers there? Him, Laddie Daddy, and Josh Palmer.
Him, Ladd, Palmer. Palmer way last. Like Palmer's a bust this year. I think
he's hurt.
I don't care.
So we'll see.
Everyone's hurt. It's week 3. Apparently, everyone is dying.
Yeah, but he hasn't been. He's been hurt since the start. He was questionable week 1.
Oh, is that why he got kicked out of the first game?
No, I don't know why. Maybe he was just like, I don't want to show that I'm banged up, so I'm gonna punch some dude in the face.
He's like, damn, my hammy kind of tight.
Yeah.
Let me quick molly whop you right in the face.
Yeah, but no, I would try not to start any of the Chargers. I would even try to find a way out of George Pickens as well. But I would start him if I had to. Chances are you're going to have to. Who are you picking here?
San Diego.
The Chargers? I agree. They're both these teams are 2-0. Yeah.
Yes.
They
That's
don't have
crazy.
records. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, they're both 2-0.
Yeah. So okay, you have records in front of you?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah. Say records after I say the teams because the DraftKings doesn't have them on the site.
Gotcha.
Next up, another kind of gross game: the New York Giants at the Cleveland Browns. The Browns are 6.5-point favorites and over under of 38. Giants are 0-2.
Yeah, Browns are 1-1.
1-1. I kind of wanted to make Deshaun Watson my start of the week, but I couldn't do it because that's too disgusting.
Nah, on this podcast, I would have banned it. You would have said Watson. I would have said you can't do that. Fuck that guy.
We can't keep picking quarterbacks to play the Giants.
No, fuck though. Not even that. Watson's.
Yeah.
No, we don't speak that guy's name.
Yeah,
but low key though, you can start Watson this week.
Yeah.
The Giants are horrendous, dude.
I'm actually starting Deshaun Watson in a 2 QB league. I have Aaron Rodgers, him, and Justin Fields, and I put Fields on my bench, and I'm going with Watson.
Smart. Yeah, no, that's the right choice.
Yeah.
This game's not going to be fun, dude, for the Giants. They're going up against.
Is it just Malik Neighbors? Is that the only Giant you're willing to put in your lineup, like comfortably?
Yeah, because I don't think Singletary's going to be able to do what he did last week, and Washington's defense is horrendous. So Singletary had 95 yards. I think he had a tutty. But that's not going to happen versus Cleveland. Cleveland is an elite up front defense.
Devin Singletary or Cam Akers?
Singletary. Cam Akers has Minnesota, who has an equally hard run defense. So Singletary's already the RB1 in this team. But don't expect Malik Neighbors to come out here and do what he did last week, too. Like, he had, 10 catches, a tutty.
68% of the targets or something like that.
Like,
it was
that
insane.
That might happen, but Cleveland's defense isn't going to allow him to have the 10 catches, the 100-some yards. He might get a tutty. I'll be lucky for a tutty. But, come on, Danny Jones is out here. We're not gonna produce much.
Who's got it? Assume Malik Willis plays this week.
Yeah.
Who has more yards? Malik Willis passing or Malik Neighbors receiving? So Malik Neighbors beat him last week.
I would say Willis this week because he's got a way harder matchup beating Neighbors. Like, the Browns defense is legit.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also a revenge game for Malik Willis.
How you feeling about Amari Cooper this week?
Better than I am about George Pickens, but not by much.
I agree. I was saying it's not close, dude.
I brought up JSN. I would start JSN over Amari Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
I would start Malik Neighbors over Amari Cooper.
I agree. For
sure. I would start Tank Dell over Amari Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably where I would draw the line.
Would you start Jerry Jeudy over Amari Cooper? Jerry Jeudy had 8 targets week 1, 6 week 2.
No, I wouldn't, just because I just don't think. I think eventually Cleveland is going to have to force the ball to Amari Cooper, and I don't think Jerry Jeudy is a guy who demands targets.
Cooper's out target. Yeah, he's out targeting him every game.
Insane amount of targets. Eventually, I think they're going to hit.
It's just him and Watson are on completely different pages. Like, but
Even
Jerry
though
Judy though, I would start Jerry Judy in a flex. I'd be comfortable doing that. He's had double
over Amari
digits
Cooper?
both week. No. I'm saying as a flex
okay.
spot.
Okay.
But Cooper though, he's also a flex spot. I have these guys in the same boat, to be honest.
Okay. Amari Cooper or Michael Pittman, if Pittman plays.
Cooper. Pittman's on the he's been hurt. He's not practicing. Give me the guy that's practicing.
Okay. From Cleveland, yeah, I think you want either of the running backs. I think both are good plays. I think one's going to end up, you're going to be happier with one over the other. It's just a matter of calling your shot. I'm still banking on Jerome Ford over Deonta Foreman. Foreman's just slow, clunky back. He's just going to run the clock out. I don't think he provides any sort of burst or upside where Ford does. Like, he was 6 for 74 last week.
Yeah, he was super efficient last week. Like, I'm still in on Jerome Ford way over Devontae Foreman. Like, it's not even close. Like, get the guy. He's really efficient in the pass game too. He had 7 targets week 1. Like, I don't understand how his targets dropped from 7 to 2 in the course. Like, just because Foreman's there, it didn't change. Like, that doesn't change.
I think last week was just a real outlier game for Jerome Ford. I think everybody's just kind of looking into it too much because Deonta Foreman got so much extra work.
Because his snap percentage also dropped. He had 75% of snaps week 1. It dropped to 44 week 2. 44% of snaps that's a running back. Like, that's a backup running back.
Maybe it was just the fact that they just had Jacksonville in the bag, which they should with the Giants. So maybe it is a Foreman game, but I'm going to trust Ford more than Foreman.
Yeah, I hope so.
I would start either one. Like, you have Deonta Foreman, I would consider throwing him in a flex spot.
You could. I would start Ford with confidence over Foreman. Foreman, even though Ford was only on the field 44% of snaps last week, somehow Foreman was on the field less, like 38. They're just not having running backs on the field, which is a weird take for Cleveland. They're really missing Nick Chubb in the backfield.
Yeah. Cleveland is my pick here. I assume that's
I also picked Cleveland reluctantly as a Giants fan, so that one hurts.
All right. Next up, 2 undefeated teams. The 2-0 Houston Texans travel to Minnesota to face the 2-0 Vikings. The Texans are 1.5 point favorites, an over under of 46. Tank Dell's obviously my start of the week. Excuse me. Steph Diggs' revenge game, his first game in Minnesota since leaving. Nico Collins has been the wide receiver 2 on the season. He's been a superstar. CJ Stroud, I'm iffy on this week. Like, Minnesota does a great job shutting down quarterbacks. So, like, if I have another option to pivot from Stroud, I would. Chances are, if you're a Stroud owner, you don't. Like, I have Stroud in our home league. I don't have a backup quarterback, so I'm not going out there looking for one.
Yeah.
But if I had one, I would consider it if they had a better matchup. I'm out on Cam Akers. I just don't think he's going to be able to get anything going against the Vikings front 7. How do you feel about Houston?
I'm cool starting Stroud because, like you said, you're not going to have a backup if you have Stroud. He finished quarterback 8 week 1, 16 week 2. He's going to finish close to a quarterback 1. Even if it's right on the outside, I'm still cool with that. I'm also cool with Cam Akers as a flex with no Joe Mixon or Pierce practicing at all. So it's looking like it's going to be him, and I'm not going to pronounce that guy. He's their backup kicker. I know that much. But
Daria Agumbawale.
I'm cool with Cam Akers. He's always been efficient when he gets to play. He gets a shot. So I'm cool with that. And
it's a sort of revenge game for Cam Akers. He was on the Vikings last year.
Yeah, if you want to count that. Nico, he was all banged up this week, but he did get the seal of approval. He's good to go for Sunday, which you love to see. He's arguably he's going to finish arguably top 3 receivers this year. He's having an outstanding season. Diggs, lock him in, revenge game. We always talk about those. They're always huge. And Tank Dell, I'm so on the fence, but I have to start him. He's your start of the week, so.
Yeah, I think he's going to outperform Diggs this week. I think it's going to be a Tank Dell week.
I hope so.
Minnesota-wise, Aaron Jones, he was banged up at the end of the Niners game, so Minnesota does want to run a split committee with Ty Chandler and him, so don't expect the Aaron Jones you got in week 1 versus the Giants where he lit you guys up. I think expect more of what he did last week, which is like a low-end RB2. Justin Jefferson says he's playing. He's good to go.
He's playing.
Jalen Naylor, I'll bring him up again. I think he's a real sneaky play. I think like if he's out there, he should be on your roster. Just because who knows when Jordan Addison's going to be back? And Jalen Naylor, two games in a row, his touchdown. Sam Darnold loves this guy.
I agree. Naylor's a flex option for sure if you're really weak. He's had back-to-back games with tutties. Minnesota loves number 2 options. It's the kind of offense you guys run. And Jefferson,
especially with no tight end option.
Exactly. Like Jefferson eats coverage up, so your number 2 runs free, especially in the red zone. They have 3 guys on Jefferson at a time. So like Naylor's out here getting open on slant routes in the red zone, that's what you love to see.
Yeah, he's fast. He's a burner. He can stretch the top of the defense as well. How do you feel about Sam Darnold? When does Sam Darnold become a talk of like if he's fantasy relevant? Him and Derek Carr are the only quarterbacks to have 250 plus passing yards and 2 touchdowns in both games this season.
It's your offense, dude. Like Kevin O'Connell's just, you can plug in any quarterback that is a real pocket passer into that offense and they're going to succeed.
Oh, Darnold can move though. He's got legs.
Yeah, he does have legs, but he knows how to run an offense. He's a really smart guy. And he's smart with the ball. Like, yeah, he's a little bit risky, but sometimes that pays off. Like, you need that Baker energy, that Andrew Luck kind of energy. Like, that gets you places in the NFL, and Sam Darnold has that kind of vibe.
It almost feels like Kirk Cousins was the problem in Minnesota.
They're just 2 different kind of quarterbacks. Like Kirk Cousins is super safe, and this is how we're going to run the offense.
He's incredibly efficient, pinpoint.
He's very meticulous. Yeah, where Sam Darnold is a little bit Brett Favre.
Fuck it, we ball sometimes.
Yeah, he's got a little bit different. Like that 97-yard touchdown was a crazy, just hug it, chug it up there. Jefferson's down there somewhere. Jefferson caught it and fucking ran it the rest of the way. It was a crazy play. I don't know if Kirk could have made that, to be honest. Like, Kirk can make that kind of play. But like 5 out of the 10 times Kirk makes it, but the other 5 Darnold makes it, and they're all two different types of plays.
Cousins is more. He's not going to do a lot of off script stuff, where Darnold can create plays.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you going with this game?
I'm going Houston.
I'm taking the Vikings.
I like it. I almost picked myself. This is one of the games that it's not locked. Like I've been switching back and forth. It's going to be a good game.
If it was in Houston, I would take Houston. I think being in Minnesota,
helps out.
Seeing what Minnesota did against the Niners last week defense-wise and really shut down Brock Purdy, and Brian Flores really shut down that system. What kind of offense does Houston run? The San Francisco-style offense. So I'd expect Flores to come out here and really put a number on C.J. Stroud.
Yeah, your defense is legit with Brian Flores. Like Brian Flores is going to be a head coach again at some point.
Yeah, not if Tua's the quarterback of the team though. The Green Bay Packers at the Tennessee Titans. The Titans are 3-point favorites, an over/under of 38.5 points.
Gross.
Tennessee being favored is kind of surprising considering Malik Willis won last week.
Yeah, but they know. The betting odds knows how bad Malik Willis is. The Packers do have a better record. They're 1-1. Tennessee's 0-2. But being at home,
I think we're disrespecting Matt LaFleur.
He's a top 3 coach. I'm
treating Matt LaFleur like Shanahan and McVay, where it doesn't matter who this team's quarterback is, he can find a way to win. And it was proof last week. He schemed a dude who's been on the team 10 days.
But you didn't even name the best coach in football. So you didn't name Andy Reid.
Andy Reid, yeah.
So he's not a top 3 coach. You named the top 3 coaches with Andy Reid.
I think Matt LaFleur. I don't know.
No, I'm taking McVay, Shanahan, and Andy Reid easily over him. But
I think we got to put Matt LaFleur in the conversation. One of the best coaches in football. I don't think
he is. He's up there for sure. But he's in the range of 4 to 7. There's a bunch of guys you can throw in that pool.
I was more focusing on whoever's his quarterback, he can win a game with them.
I mean, yeah, but Tennessee, their defense.
Tennessee's got a really good defense.
Yeah, and like Malik Willis is just a really bad quarterback. But there's a chance Jordan Love is suited. He's out here practicing. He's suited. He might suit up.
I wouldn't play him.
I'm not saying I'm playing him, but if he plays in real life, they're probably going to win this game.
Green Bay, I'm still sitting. I mean, even if he's able to play, I'm going to take my chance that Malik Willis can win another game.
I probably would not. If you have a chance to get that guy off the field, get him off the field. Take him 1-0. Don't risk it again.
You got Minnesota next week. I am resting Love for that game.
See, I get what you're saying, but every game matters in the NFL. So that one game that they benched him, if they lose to Tennessee, it might come back and bite him in the end of the season.
Oh, maybe. Tennessee, it's really Tony Pollard and Calvin Ridley.
It's two people. Tony Pollard and Calvin Ridley. Hopkins is inefficient. He's not even being used.
Yeah, he should be on waivers.
Yeah, I would give it this week.
I would even be willing to drop Tyjae Spears as well.
It's getting close. He's banged up. I would still hold on to Spears. He's had 7 and 5. He's outscored Gus Edwards both weeks, and he's not even getting the ball at all. So if he heals up and eventually starts getting more, I'm fine with Spears. He's, like I said, he's outscoring Gus Edwards.
Green Bay with Willis, we're treating him the same as we did last week. You'd consider Jaden Reed. Definitely start Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
If Jordan Love's back in, is it then Jaden Reed's a for sure start, and you gonna ride the Christian Watson ride, or confidence in Romeo Doubs or Dontavian Wicks?
I would personally feel comfortable if I had to pick another receiver besides Reed, it would be Wicks. Wicks had a touchdown last week. He was still really targeted week 1, even though he had 0 catches. He had 4 targets, and a bunch of his catches that he did have got called back. Wicks is still being heavily used in this offense. I would trust him over Watson and Dobbs, to be honest. Watson's a bum. I hate that dude. He's just not good, dude.
He's got one catch for 13 yards.
Yeah, he's just not good, dude.
Yeah. Who are you picking?
Oh man. If Jordan Love plays, I'm picking Green Bay. If not, I'm picking Tennessee.
Taking Green Bay regardless.
Fair enough. I don't think Malik Willis can pull off 2, dude. I don't think that's possible.
I think Matt LaFleur can pull off 2. It's a revenge game for Matt LaFleur.
Yeah, it is.
Chicago Bears at the Indianapolis Colts. Colts are 1-point favorites at home, over under a 44. Colts are 0-2. Bears are 1-1.
Yep.
I really want Caleb Williams to have a good game. I am tired of
it's not going to happen.
Look terrible, but the line's
so bad. Like, you can't blame do not blame Caleb Williams. Like, people are out here saying he's a bust. He's the worst number 1. Like, it's been 2 games. Their offensive line is horrendous.
Worst number 1. Have you ever watched Bryce Young play football?
You guys remember a little ditty called Jamarcus Russell?
Yeah, that guy can throw a ball so far. Joe Milton would have been the first pick of the draft in 2007.
That is true. And the run game is also oblique. It's nothing. Swift has been garbage.
Swift is terrible.
Yeah, Herbert's looked like shit. Roshan's not even being used. So
I don't even know if that's a line issue. I mean, it is too, but I also think it's a skill issue as well. Like, I just don't think DeAndre Swift is that kind of guy.
And Keenan Allen's been ruled out, so
heel injury. When are you on red alert with Keenan Allen? Like, he missed the last 4 games with the heel injury last year. Now he's got a heel injury again. He's going to miss his 2nd game this season.
It's a red flag.
Yeah, I'm almost out on him. I'm going to start DJ Moore, not confidently, but he's getting the target share there. He's the guy of this offense. But Indy's defense is bad, real bad. So if there's a game for Caleb Williams to figure it out and put it together, this is the game. And then there's Anthony Richardson on the other side, who almost has the same completion percentage as Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. Don't make that sound good, though. That's not good.
No. Trevor Lawrence is barely throwing over 50%.
The way you said that people are out there being like, oh, wow, he has the completion percentage of a real quarterback.
That was more of an indictment on Trevor Lawrence than it is a boost up for Anthony Richardson. Yeah, but you're going to play Anthony Richardson. He's going to be able to run. But Bears defense is so good. Like, it could be another one of those struggle games like we saw last week where Green Bay schemed Anthony Richardson out of that football game.
The way you talked about C.J. Stroud is the way I look at Anthony. If you have another option, I would happily start him over Anthony Richardson. 100%.
Brock Purdy or Anthony Richardson?
Brock Purdy.
Geno Smith or Anthony Richardson? Baker.
Richardson.
Okay. Jonathan Taylor, he's obviously a must start.
You have to.
Pittman, I don't want to play him at all.
He's a flex option just based off targets. Like, he can get points. That's what you want in your flex options.
Keep an eye on him, though, because like you said, he didn't practice today, so
Yeah.
we don't know what's going on there. I love the upside of Josh Downs. I can't wait to see what his role is in the offense. So, like, if he's out there, stash him on your bench. I wouldn't play him right away.
He practiced all last week. Every single practice he played, and then he just didn't play the game. Yeah. He should be out there this week.
Yeah. So we'll see how he fits in. That maybe that they don't play Pittman then. Maybe they roll with Mitchell, Pierce, and Downs.
I think if Josh Downs is out there, I think that's a huge help for Anthony Richardson. It's a guy that can be a check down guy. He could be in the middle of the field, short distance. Hopefully he can get that completion percentage over 50%, dude.
Yeah, because they're not going to throw the ball to Jonathan Taylor.
No, they can't.
Who wins this game?
The Colts.
The Colts, I agree.
The Colts.
Yeah. Carolina Panthers at the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders at home are a 6-point favorite, an over/under of 40. The Raiders are 1-1. The Panthers are 0-2. Right?
Yes. You don't have to question. You don't have to question that, my guy.
Okay. No, I was more questioning just the Raiders being 1-1.
Oh, okay. Yes.
The Raiders had the big upset over Baltimore.
Crazy.
You're starting Devontae Adams. You're starting Brock Bowers. That might be it for the whole game.
Starting Samir White. Carolina has a horrendous run defense.
Yeah, but Samir White's bad.
I get that, but the coaching staff has come out and said that we want to get this guy 20 carries a game plus. It hasn't been in the script because of Baltimore. They had to play from behind. I would happily start Zamir White this week.
God, I don't want to.
I'm not saying I want to, but if he was on my home league, I'd start Zamir White over a couple guys out there for sure.
Man, I don't like that one. I guess if you're playing the matchup game, I get it. From Carolina's side, it's just Chuba Hubbard. That's the only guy I would start Zamir White over Chuba Hubbard. Yeah.
Oh, okay. With the quarterback change, I thought that's what kind of
No.
With the quarterback change, I'm not starting anyone besides Chuba if I have to start anyone.
It's a wait and see in Carolina. Andy Dalton's there.
No, there's a legitimate chance.
We're talking about.
Oh yeah, they did. They benched.
So we haven't talked about that.
Yeah, they benched Bryce Young for the true veteran Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton, everyone's backup quarterback. I like that. I don't know if you guys saw that video, but there was someone
had me dying.
His computer was like Andy Dalton's the backup on like 6 different teams. And like I like that. There should be a hierarchy of like backup quarterbacks where like if the quarterback gets hurt, that guy goes to that team. Like Andy Dalton, Joe Flacco, like those guys. Carson Wentz, Jameis Winston. Mm-hmm. Those guys should be on this little waiver wire when your quarterback gets hurt. Cool. Tua's out. Cool. Here comes Andy Dalton. He's now the Dolphins quarterback. Yep. And I'd be way more comfortable with Miami with Andy Dalton than I would be with Skylar Thompson.
100%. Miami should just be out there looking for anyone to trade for. Wilson, sign Tannehill, trade for Jameis, trade for Joe Flacco. Like, Skylar Thompson's not going to cut it, dude. And you have a really short window here with what the talent you have. Go pull the trigger. Like, you're making Jalen Waddle irrelevant. We'll get to Miami. We're still. I'm shooting the gap here with Miami a couple times. But there's a legitimate chance that one of these receivers becomes a decent flex play for the foreseeable future. I just don't know if it's going to be Deontay Johnson, Leggett, Thielen, God forbid.
Thielen was great with Andy Dalton last year. That one game, see if I can find it. I had Adam Thielen. I started him out of spite. Ash dropped him. Or Ash didn't drop him. I was playing Ash, and I picked up Adam Thielen, and she dared me to start him. And I did. And brother had a game.
I mean, Thielen had an amazing stretch last season. He had a really good season. He had over 100 catches, I'm pretty sure.
But yeah, that was like the first game for Thielen. It was against Seattle. And I have Andy Dalton's. This is good podcasting.
Yeah. I'm not worried about an Adam Thielen game from last year. The dude's 70 years old. It doesn't matter.
I still think he's got a little bit in him.
Nah, probably not.
But no, I'm not starting any of these guys, but I'm watching. I'm watching to see who Andy Dalton does favor.
Yeah, check out the targets, see what happens. They're going to get spread around between Deontay Johnson, Adam Thielen, Xavier Leggett, first round pick. it's going to be those three guys. And Chuba Hubbard theoretically should be the workhorse back, but again, we'll see what happens.
11 for 145 and 1 on 14 targets, which is a season high in targets, tied to season high in catches, season high in yards for Adam Thielen with Andy Dalton last year. But yeah, wait and see with Arizona.
That could be Deontay Johnson.
It could be Xavier Legette.
No, he is, but I'm saying Deontay Johnson's just a way younger Adam Thielen. They're both very similar.
Yeah. Who you picking here? You picking Vegas?
Yes.
I'm also picking Raiders.
Not close.
Miami Dolphins at the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks are 4.5 point favorites, over under of 42. We've brought up the Seahawks. We like Geno Smith this week. If you can get Geno Smith, if you have a questionable matchup at quarterback and Geno's out there, snag him up. You like Zach Charbonnet a little more than I do. It looks like Kenneth Walker's not playing. I think Charbonnet's a good flex play. You think he's an RB1 almost.
He finished RB8 last week. He had almost 18 points. He had 14 carries for 38 yards. Not efficient, but he had a touchdown.
He's West Coast Rachaad White.
I'm saying he's almost an RB1 in PPR. He was RB8, like I brought up, but PPR, he had 5 catches. He's a really good PPR option in this offense that loves to pass. Miami's banged up. They're going to run the ball, obviously, because they're going to run the clock. So I'm all in on Charbonnet for sure.
And then DK Metcalf, no brainer.
Yeah,
did he practice?
I know he didn't practice Wednesday.
I've heard nothing.
DK
regarding him, and I have him.
He's off the injury report. He set the Sunday. I'm starting him and Jigba.
Yep, and I would watch Tyler Lockett, but I wouldn't put him in my lineup. I think we're on the verge of watching him getting phased to number 3.
But if you start like 3 flex spots or 3 receivers and a flex, you could throw him in there. He's fine.
There is the chance that it's a rotation between him and Njigba on what week they use him. Exactly. Njigba did nothing week 1.
Yep.
Miami, you're starting Tyreek Hill.
It is how the mighty have fallen here for Miami.
You are starting Devon Achane.
That's it.
Raheem Mostert is not playing.
Yeah.
So Achane is going to PPR, especially. He's going to PPR his way into 10 targets, I'm sure. And I'm not starting Jalen Waddle. I would start JSN over him. I would start Rashid Shaheed over him.
Michael Pittman if he plays. Who you got?
Blarf.
Yeah.
Oh, Pittman.
I agree. Better quarterback situation.
Targets.
Yep.
Oh, that one's gross. I would start Amari Cooper. I know he's been the one. I would start Cooper over Waddle.
Yeah.
Skylar
Thompson really just he really ruins Jalen Waddle.
He makes the Dolphins not fun.
Yeah, he really fucks up the vibe. Go trade for Joe Flacco. Come on.
Seattle wins this game though. I don't think it's close.
Sure. I agree. Yeah. On paper it shouldn't, but somehow New England hung in there with Seattle. So
yeah.
Like it might end up being close just because Devon Achane and Tyreek Hill are both out there on the field.
Maybe. Next up, San Francisco travels to LA and they take on the Rams. The Niners are 6.5 point road favorites.
Yeah, this game's gonna be crazy.
Rams are 0-2. Niners 1-1.
Yeah.
Over under 43. George Kittle, he's looking like he might not play. I haven't heard anything today regarding him. Debo's out. Christian McCaffrey's still out. So that leaves, this could be it. I gave you shit for bringing up Brandon Ayuk before the podcast because you were pitching about Tank Dell. And Brandon Ayuk is wide receiver 61 on the year so far. But now he is the wide receiver in this offense because Debo's out. Kittle is doubtful. And like you brought up with Jordan Mason, he's not part of the pass game. So Brock Purdy leads the league in passing yards. Wild fact. He's the only quarterback with 550 yards so far this season. So the Niners are going to have to do something, and they luck into a very banged-up Los Angeles Rams team. No Puka, no Cooper Kupp. Kyron Williams hasn't had a run over 10 yards this year. The line is atrocious. The defense is bad. The vibes in LA are not good. I'm obviously starting Kyron Williams. I'm also starting DeMarcus Robinson in the flex. I would start DeMarcus Robinson over Jalen Waddle.
I have them guys really, really close around the same boat. But Robinson, I think he's going to have a decent game. I really just trust him as the number one over Waddle as the number two with Thomas. Like Skyward Thomas isn't going to be able to get
I'm gonna
Waddle
trust
the
the
ball.
quarterback. That's why I'm going with Robinson.
Oh,
I trust
100%.
Matt Stafford.
If Matt Stafford has any bit of some type of passing, like pocket passing, what am I looking for here? Line protection. That's all I'm going to say. If he has any type of line protection, that's what you really need from Stafford. But the Rams' line is horrendous, dude. And Kyron Williams has been horrendous because of the line. The receivers are all taking a hit because of the line. The San Francisco is going to run the fucking ball down the Rams' throat, dude.
Yeah. How do you feel about Colby Parkinson?
Not a big fan. Really
No.
dropped the ball last week.
I think he's going to have to block a ton. That he's not even going to get any sort of involvement in the passing game.
They don't have time like to do these passing plays with design plays because Stafford has to either roll out to the outside to get these guys these balls, and it's just not going well. The line's one of the worst lines I've ever seen.
How do you sort out the other Rams receivers? Tyler Johnson, Tutu Atwell, Jordan Whittington. Are you rostering any of them? I wouldn't start any of them, obviously. But
I'm rostering Tyler Johnson and Jordan Whittington. I would rank them in that order.
okay, Tutu had more targets and yards than both of them last week, but
I know
he was on the field less than them as well.
less, yeah.
So, but Tutu is the only one who's really could stretch the field out of those guys. He's a field stretcher, but I would lock in Tyler Johnson as the one I'd want from that group.
I agree.
But I wouldn't put him in my lineup. But that's where I'm watching the Rams to see how the other receivers, sans DeMarcus Robinson, shape out.
Yeah, if
Because if
Rams,
Stafford does have any sort of protection, that second receiver is going to be viable.
The Rams couldn't even stop Arizona, and they have no pass rushers. Like they're going up against San Fran, who is an elite defense. Like this could be a bloodbath, like a legitimate bloodbath out here, dude.
Yeah. So yeah, we're both taking the Niners. Are you comfortable? You think Ayuk blows up, or you think it's just going to be an average game just because the Niners aren't going to have to pass a ton?
I think Ayuk's going to finish with 6 catches for 70 yards. So that's a good game, but
Ayuk or Amari Cooper?
Ayuk's not close.
Okay, not close.
No.
Ayuk or Jackson Smith and Jigba?
Ayuk.
Okay. Detroit at Arizona. The Lions are 3-point favorites on the road. Over under of 51.5. That is a cheek clencher. That is so good.
Yeah.
Arizona, they're 1-1. The Lions are 1-1.
Yep.
These offenses are great. Jared Goff, you worried about Jared Goff at all? He hasn't been great.
Oh, man,
he's not getting touchdowns. That's the problem.
That's the huge problem. He's looking fine, but he's also looking not like Goff did last year, dude. Like it's not Goff.
Jared Goff or Geno Smith?
Geno.
Okay.
No, God. Oh, no. Man. I have them like back to back. They're literally like
Goff or Baker?
Give me Goff. I think it's gonna be it's gonna be a shootout, dude. Like this game could go over the 53.5. I really like pretty much every big name guy in this game for the most part. I
think this is a Sam Laporta game.
It could be, but I mean, I think Jameson Williams is still really good. Obviously, Amon-Ra is gonna eat. He always does. They're gonna get that guy back in the offense more so than week 1 for sure. So
I think all three are good starts. I
agree. I think one
of the running backs are going to be the expense this week. One of the running backs is going to have an all, whether it be both. It could be both of them. It could be Jared Goff could get the touchdowns this week, and Montgomery and Gibbs get no touchdowns. But I do think Sam Laporta is going to have a good game and kind of ease off you worrying about him as a fantasy option because you're going to play him no matter what you drafted him as a top 5 tight end.
Mm-hmm.
You're not moving on from him. Arizona, I think that's pretty much you're starting Marvin Harrison Jr., you're starting Kyler Murray, you're starting Trey McBride, and then you're going to start James Conner, but be a little less confident in him because Detroit's great against the run, but he gets targets, he's going to catch his fair share in PPR, he'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm starting James Conner for sure. He's the real workhorse back. He had a big game last week rushing-wise. Don't expect that. More so expect week 1 where he had 16 for 50. but he still had a tutty and he had 3 catches. Like
Yeah.
he still gets targets. He's a good start.
I like Greg Dortch this week too.
I was
if
gonna
you're
say,
really desperate.
Greg Dortch
He's a
is a
good
really
PPR
good
guy. It wouldn't surprise me if he has like a 7 catch game this week for like
Yeah,
50
for sure.
yards.
Yeah, it's not going to be many yards. If he falls into the end zone, then that would be a magical game because 7 catches is nothing for Greg Dortch. He could pull that out.
Yeah. Who are you picking here?
I'm picking the Lions.
I'm taking the Cardinals. They're my team.
I know they are.
On paper, fun game here. The Baltimore Ravens at the Dallas Cowboys. The Ravens are
Mhm.
1-point favorites on the road, and over under of 47.5. This is the first real like playoff game of the season, and we're in week 3. Because the Ravens are at risk of starting 0-3. The Cowboys are at risk of starting 1-2. And
Yeah,
that's a place you don't want to be. I mean, the Ravens also are at risk of starting 1-2 if they win. Not ideal.
that's true.
Dallas's defense, Mike Zimmer, it's not working. That's because Mike Zimmer he's a grandpa. He refuses to adapt and change. So whatever you see, if he's showing blitz, guess what? He's blitzing. There's no hiddenness to that defense, and they can't stop the run. So Derrick Henry should rip this team apart. And
Theoretically.
Jake Ferguson, my start of the week at tight end, Baltimore can't stop the pass.
Mhm.
So that makes it easy for you because you don't have to play a Cowboys running back. You don't want to play Rico Dowdle. You don't want to play Ezekiel Elliott. It wouldn't surprise me if Deuce Vaughn gets to work this game because it seems like Dallas is going to put a different back out there every week.
They tried
And
Deuce
then
Vaughn.
next week's going to be a Dalvin Cook game.
I'm not starting any of the backs. Zeke's going to get the workload.
I disagree.
Rico's-
I think Rico gets the workload. He got it last week.
The workload of 7 carries.
Yeah, Zeke only had 6.
Yeah, that's not a workload.
Well, neither of them get the workload. I don't think they're going to run.
I'm starting CeeDee Lamb. I'm starting Jake Ferguson.
I'm starting Dak Prescott.
You have to start Dak. I'd be reluctant to though.
Dak or Geno. Dak or Goff.
God.
Oh, you picked Goff over Geno before. Baker.
Pretty close, dude. Dak's high performance right now is QB 15 on the year.
He did this last year too. He started off slow and then
I get it,
he
but
blew
Baltimore
up.
is not the secondary you're going to bounce back. He's got the Giants the week after. That's where it's going to happen.
They can't stop the pass in Baltimore. Dak's going to be a good play this week. I think this game's going to be a shootout.
I don't know.
I think
man.
I think they beat that over under. I think
What was the over under?
47.5.
I mean, yeah, maybe.
I'm picking Baltimore though.
I'm
I
also
think the Ravens. I think the Ravens win this game.
There's no way Baltimore starts 0-3. That just
So
seems outlandish.
Baltimore, we kind of brushed. Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers
Start.
or Amari Cooper.
Zay Flowers.
Okay, I agree.
Mhm.
Zay Flowers or Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Flowers.
Okay, agree. Mark Andrews, you're going to start him and
Mhm.
hope it continues treading upwards because it did. He got the majority of the stuff last week. Lamar's fine, and that's it for that team. Derrick Henry, obviously.
You starting Isaiah Likely?
Probably because you have to if you have
I
him.
agree. Mhm.
In cases like in leagues I have him, I thankfully have like a better option to go with. Like,
I
I
agree.
have Brock Bowers with him, and I'm obviously starting Brock Bowers. But yeah, I would likely start Likely. Like on the Njoku owner, and I got Isaiah Likely. I'm putting him in my lineup. I'm not going to search for Goddard or Freiermuth. I'm just going to put Likely in and hope he gets a touchdown.
I agree. The way tight ends have been this year, I'm cool with Likely. His ceiling is as high as anyone else's.
Yeah,
That's the way
he's like the only tight end to break like 20 points in PPR this year.
Yeah, that's how I'm looking at tight ends this year. Is like, do they have a high ceiling? Because everyone's floor is just the same at this point.
Yeah.
It's all one catch. Like everyone could shit the bed equally.
Mm-hmm. Now we're both picking Baltimore here.
Yeah. Go pick a Baltimore.
Kansas City travels to Atlanta. The Chiefs are 3-point favorites over under 46.5. Chiefs 2-0, Falcons 1-1. Falcons had a nice little comeback win on Monday night last week, and now another primetime Kirko Chains game here. Atlanta, it's pretty locked and loaded. You're starting Bijan. You're starting Kirk. I'm starting Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
I think you're reluctantly starting Drake London. Yeah, I don't want to. If I could find a way out of starting Drake London, I would do it.
I think you shouldn't trade Drake London.
Yeah.
You could really get a good, especially
Fun
out of that
fact,
last drive.
In our home league, the guy with Drake London also has Jalen Waddle and Jamar Chase.
Oh,
Jamar Chase, great start this week. We'll get to him. He's coming up.
three elite receivers, and they've just all kind
And
of
he's got JSN on his bench
fluttered
currently.
along. Oh man, yeah, but yeah, for sure.
He's got DeAndre Swift. Just inefficient guys.
That's so bad. Yeah, I'm cool starting Cousins. Obviously, I'd start Carr and a handful of other guys over him, but he's a good stream option. Bijan, you lock in every week. Drake London, it could be a shootout. Like, he was pretty useless up until that last drive. So you just have to hope you get one of those. Drake, all it takes is one drive for Drake London, and it showed last week. So there's a good chance he gets one drive in this game.
And the utilization has been almost the same as when Arthur Smith had. It's just that they're just on the field more and utilized better. But like route percentage, it's all like the same. Like it hasn't changed really so much in Atlanta. Obviously, you're starting Kyle Pitts again, same boat as Drake London. It's not willingly, but again, tight end. You're happy with Kyle Pitts' ceiling. He can get a touchdown.
Yep.
Darnell Mooney, I think, is a under the radar flyer at a flex. Kirk Cousins loves this guy.
Kirk Cousins loves number twos. Kansas City's gonna lock someone out of this offense. And if it happens to be Drake London, Darnell Mooney's gonna step up very well. He did it last week. So,
yep.
He had 100 yards last week.
I don't know. I know he had 19 PPR points.
He had 88 yards, but he's 7 targets. Like 7 targets is huge. That's
also keep an eye on Ray McLeod.
I agree.
They're using this guy. He's on the field a ton, and Cousins, loves that like underneath guy, and that's what he's been for this team. He's also a feisty dude. I saw him punch an eagle right in the face after he went to score a touchdown.
He punched C.J. Garner-Johnson in the face after he pulled out his mouthpiece. Like
that guy's a bum.
But he's a Hall of Famer of pissing people off, dude. That dude is a dog, dude. He knows every button to push, and he never gets
off that he still has work because he's not good.
You brought up Ray McLeod being on the field a bunch. He played in 100% of snaps last week.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah,
doesn't leave the field.
He pulled an Allen Lazard, and he was on the field for every single snap.
I would also keep an eye on Tyler Algier. I feel he's been playing a bunch, and he's getting work. Like, this isn't just the Bijan Robinson show. Again, another guy who should be rostered because if Bijan goes down, it's Tyler Algier's backfield.
For sure. He finished RB 36 last week. He had 9 carries for 53 yards. So, and he had a catch, too. So that's cool. He had a little 12-yard catch. Tyler Algier should be rostered in most leagues.
Kansas City, no Pacheco.
Yeah. Heartbreaking, dude.
Where you go running game wise? Who do you think's
not there?
Pirine or the Alligator Man, Carson Steele?
If I had to pick one of them, man, neither, to be honest. I personally if we're going just me personally, I put $6 on Pirine and I put a $5 bid on Steele. I think Piron's a better PPR option. I don't think Steele's going to get any kind of carry or targets. He's going to have maybe 1 or 2 catches. There's a chance Piron has 7 catches in this game, just based off the offense that they're running. And I don't know if Steele's going to end up being productive, to be honest.
Well, I think Steele compares to Pacheco better than any other back on the roster in terms of just skill set wise.
I agree.
That's why I think I would rather have him. I got Carson Steele in a few leagues. I'm not starting him in any except the Megla Bowl because we have to. We have to start him. And thankfully our opponent had Ramondre Stevenson. So
hey, lucked out, baby.
I trust that the Alligator Man gets more than 0.3 points.
Oh man, it'd be a rough day if he doesn't.
I mean, it would be rough. But yeah, I would keep it. Watch the Chiefs backfield. I don't think Kareem Hunt's going to be the guy. I know they brought him to the practice squad. I think it's going to be Steele and Pirine. I think it's going to be mostly a split. I would favor Carson Steele more. How do you feel about Xavier Worthy? You keep putting him in the lineup?
No, he's so hit or miss, dude. And that's what you're getting with Worthy. Like, obviously, Rashid Rice is a lock. 100% of the games he plays, I'm locking in Rashid Rice. Worthy, though, is so... It's essentially just calling your shot. And players like that scare the fucking hell out of me, dude. Like, because
Xavier Worthy or Jalen Waddle? I think this is our Waddle line.
Worthy.
I agree, but I think that's where he falls in the rankings. Is right.
There's the Waddle line.
Yeah.
I think Worthy, just based off he has the way better chance of getting in the end zone. I don't think Waddle has a legitimate chance of getting in the end zone this week, where Worthy obviously does based off the offense.
Waddle or Mooney?
Waddle.
Okay.
Oh, that's still really close, dude. Like that's still Mooney might actually be the way safer play.
Waddle or for our next game, Brian Thomas Jr.
I'm taking Waddle over that one.
Okay.
I'll take Waddle.
What about Khalil Shakir?
And Waddle.
Okay.
Into the next game.
You're starting Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce.
You have to start him.
You have to start him, and he has been bad fantasy wise. He's been on the field. He's been blocking more.
Do we think they're saving him?
Yes, I do. I brought that up in our preview episode. I think they're kind of just, but I mean, he's playing 92% of the snaps, so I don't know how that's really saving him. They're just not.
But
he's not taking hits. Yeah,
he's not getting used. Like he's out there as like a huge decoy, kind of.
Yeah, it's the Rashee Rice show in the regular season for this team. I think he's the safest option. We'll see Pat Mahomes, who's been a very average fantasy quarterback the last year and a half.
100%. But that's the kind of offense they're running now. Like he's just really efficient, and but no Pacheco. There's a really good chance this whole offense switches.
Mm-hmm.
Because
the switch happened when Pacheco took over. Like
I didn't think about that when we were talking about Worthy. That kind of bumps Worthy up, to be honest, a little bit. I think Mahomes is going to come out here wheeling and dealing today or this week.
I'm reluctantly picking the Chiefs.
I'm picking Kansas City.
I want to pick Atlanta, but I know better. Maybe they cover. Maybe somehow Atlanta covers this 3-point spread and loses. Yeah, I like that. Picking Atlanta against the spread, Chiefs to win the game.
I'll take the Chiefs in both.
First Monday night game of the week. We got one of those gross Monday doubleheaders. The Jacksonville Jaguars at the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are 5-point favorites at home.
Why are there two Monday night games? I didn't even realize that.
Over under 45.5. I think we're disrespecting Buffalo here. Only 5-point favorites at home against the ass Jacksonville Jaguars. Double that.
Jags
I think Buffalo
bad,
doubles
dude.
that spread. The Jaguar, Doug Peterson might be the first coach fired.
It's kind of trending that way. Jacksonville's offense has been horrendous. And Buffalo's been low-key one of the best teams in football this year. They're
playing the football they want to play. They're playing great defense, and they are running the ball down your throat. James Cook has looked great.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Allen, he's obviously a top 5 quarterback in football. I think this is a stop. I think they're going to blow them out. It might be another one of those games where Josh Allen only gets you like 15 points because they destroy the Jaguars.
Like Cook's a lock. The receivers though for Buffalo though, they're all risky. Like Keon Coleman was the receiver 1 week 1, and week 2 he had no catches. Shakir was receiver 1. So I don't know. Like there's a chance Samuel's the receiver 1 this week.
Shakir's got 5 catches in both games, I believe. I trust him in a PPR sense.
Yeah.
I actually like Keon Coleman this week as well.
Theoretically, yeah. But there's a chance he goose eggs, dude.
I don't think he'll goose, but there's a chance he only gets like 3 catches.
I agree. But I'm very pro Keon Coleman. But
I think it's going to be a Dalton Kincaid game, though. I think when the pass game steps up, I think it's going to be him.
They really tried to get him involved last week, and he ended up getting kicked in the head, and it all just went downhill there for their pass game. They just kept running, and that's what Buffalo wants to do. It's going to be Kincaid and James Cook are locks. Josh Allen's obviously a lock. What about the Jags, though? Who are you starting? Any of them?
Etienne, unwillingly, but you have to. You drafted him in the second, third round. You're not going to bench him. But he's also still the workhorse.
Brandon Strange is a name to keep an eye on.
I was going to bring him up with Evan Ingram not playing.
Yeah. He had like 8 or 9 points in his one start without Ingram. So tight ends are weak, dude.
Like I like Brian Thomas Jr., but he's got 8 targets on the year. Like they're just not stretching the field with him. Gabe Davis is doing cardio. He's just getting like dinks down the middle and not doing much. Christian Kirk ain't doing nothing. Literally. Yeah. And
Christian Kirk is doing absolutely nothing, dude. Gabe Davis is.
If Tank Bigsby's out there, he's going to cut into Etienne's work, and Etienne now has a floor and a low ceiling.
Yep, I agree. Jacksonville's a rough watch.
I'll start Etienne, and that's it. I wouldn't even play, and I love Brian Thomas Jr. But
Yeah,
not playing
exactly.
him this week. Buffalo's defense is good, and I don't even know how that's possible.
It's the way they coach the team, dude. But yeah, Buffalo for sure. I'm taking Buffalo.
Yeah. Final Monday night game. The Washington Commanders go to Cincinnati. The Bengals are 7-point favorites, over under of 47. Bengals played the Chiefs really good last week. I'm starting my Bengals. The Washington defense is atrocious.
Horrendous.
You're starting Jamar Chase. I think this is going to be the big game. Prime time. Jamar Chase is coming out, and he's putting up 150 and
T.
2.
Higgins playing?
He was limited in practice today, so that's back-to-back days of practice. If I have T. Higgins, I'm hoping Andre Yoshivas is available on my waivers, or he's already on my bench, and I have a plug-in, because Yoshivas had 2 touchdowns last week, but 2 catches, 7 yards with those 2 touchdowns. But, again, Washington's defense bad. I would play Yoshivas if T. Higgins is out. I like Zach Moss this week as well. Obviously, Joe Burrow, then a great start.
I really like Zach Moss a lot this week. Washington's defense is horrendous. Zach Moss is clearly their RB1. There's a chance they just fucking run this ball. T. Higgins, he was limited, but he is lining up to play.
He says he's playing, which great for our Megalobol team. We have him. We need him.
It is trending that he does play, so that is a huge positive. How do you feel about Gesicki this week? He had 9 targets last week for 7.
He was limited in practice today too, so he's questionable. If T is back, I'm kind of out on Gesicki.
I agree. The targets are going to go back to T. Gesicki was limited today in practice with a calf injury. But yeah, if T. Higgins suits up, that's going to take a huge chunk of Gesicki's work. Maybe. Because honestly, he's out here getting more targets than Jamar Chase, which has to change. If they run another game script like they did and it happens again, Jamar Chase is going to freak out, dude. He almost lost it last week. You need to get this man the ball. He's clearly your best player, like offensively wise, besides Burrow. Pay the man, get the guy his money, get the guy on the field. Just make that man happy. He's so good.
You're going to pay him regardless. So why are you holding it up?
Exactly.
Over a couple mil? In the NFL, that doesn't matter. I think the Bengals run away, though. I think this is going to be a blowout. Jaden Daniels, I'm cool with him. I want to start Terry McLaurin.
I think Jaden Daniels
I'll start Jalen Waddle over Terry McLaurin.
I'm not starting any receiver on this team. Terry McLaurin could arguably be cut soon, just based off the way their
I
offense
dropped him in a
runs.
league today.
Reasonable, but
I picked up DeMarcus Robinson.
Jaden Daniels is going to have a huge game. Like, regardless of the score, he finished QB3 week 1, QB18 week 2.
So his fantasy finishes almost mirror Anthony Richardson this year.
Yeah, exactly. And Anthony Richardson was a fucking 4th round, 5th round pick, and Jaden Daniels won the 8th, 9th.
Well, no, but I'm saying, like, people are like super like locking in Jaden Daniels, but like questioning starting Anthony Richardson. I think they're both locks to play. I think the beneficiary for Washington is the Bengals' defense is nowhere near as good as Chicago's.
I mean, and Jaden Daniels can also go out there and throw a ball 29 times and complete 23 of them. There will never be a day in history where Anthony Richardson does that.
He doesn't get touchdowns passing.
Yeah, you're right. But he's got 88 rushing yards, 44 rushing yards.
He's got as many passing touchdowns as J.J. McCarthy.
You're right.
J.J. McCarthy leads rookies in passing touchdowns.
You're right. But Jaden Daniels has way more fantasy points.
Well, yes. Drake May tied also for the lead in passing touchdowns.
That guy played, so
yeah. What rookie's going to get the first touchdown passing? Does Caleb get one this week against shitty Indianapolis?
No, Jaden Daniels this week.
Okay, this week. Okay, but yeah, Jaden Daniels was a great start. They're going to be down, so I like both Washington running backs as well. Even being down, I think they'll get the ball. Eckler and Brian Robinson. I'm out on all the receivers.
Yep.
If I had to, I guess I'd play Zach Ertz, but that is a disgusting life choice.
He's had 4 targets in both games. They're not going to be good targets. He had 4 catches this week for 62 yards. Like, that's not going to happen. Yeah. It's usually going to be around 3 to 4 catches, 30 to 40 yards. But he's safe for like 7 points, dude. So if you need a tight end just to go out there and get some type of points, Zach Ertz is going to get the floor minimum of points for sure.
Yeah, he'll get his projection.
Yeah.
But yeah, Cincinnati wins this one. Start your Bengals. Jamar, T, if he's out there. Yoshivas if T isn't. Gesicki if T's not out there as well. Good play. Zach Moss. I really like Zach Moss this week, though.
Mm-hmm. Zach Moss, for sure.
Yeah. All right. That wraps it up. Boom. Week 3. Done. Recapped. Well, recapped.
Recapped. This guy's
Previewed.
seeing the future.
Telling the future. Yeah. Where's my orb? You see my orb here for your video people. This glare of the light off the wall. That's my orb. That's telling me everything I need to know. All right. Drafted Up Podcast. We're over on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at @draftedup_pod. Apple, YouTube, Spotify. Search Drafted Up Podcast. Will be there. The actual YouTube link is youtube.com/@draftedup_pod. If you're a old man and using a web browser, that's how you can type in the exact link. And it'll just bring up our channel page.
No one uses YouTube. Merc uses a web browser for getting this podcast.
Sure.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Still out
Merc's
here
watching
using
on a computer.
Hotmail. That dude's
Yeah.
a crazy
All
man.
right. That's
Alrighty.
it. We appreciate it. Oh, tell your friends too. Yeah. Tell everybody. Spread the word that way.
Word
That
of
works well.
mouth.
Yeah. All right, guys. Adios. We'll see you next week.
Enjoy football this week, everybody.
Go win some games. Go win some games.
Yeah, good luck in fantasy, too.